Hi, good morning. Welcome to RLM Herbal Ideals. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. First and foremost, I would like to say sending out prayers to those in Florida where they have had that terrible, terrible flooding. I hope that you're able to recover and things will be better for you. So, one of the things that I would like to touch base with is that, guys, I know I have not posted all week. That's because I've had a loss. I lost my best buddy, my ride or die dog, literally my dog, on Tuesday morning. He had been um, battling cancer. So it was a pretty hard. I'm still a little sad about it, but you know what? I had to make a hard decision for my pup. He overnight he went from being a happy puppy hanging in there with us managing his condition to being deathly ill overnight. So the humane thing to do was to let him cross the Rainbow Bridge, and he did so in my arms. That being said, I want to talk about a little bit about our pets. So, I tend to talk about things that hit home for me. So if I talk about it, I'm pretty sure there's someone out there that additionally may have gone through or is going through the same thing. So one of the things that I identified with my pup is that he was, well, my pup was 8 years old. So it was that he was his happy-go-lucky self, but the first thing I noticed, he wasn't wagging his tail as much as he used to. And then I was like, well, what's the matter, Bubby? And then I noticed that he was urinating in a manner that was not normal. I'll put it that way. So it's important that we keep watch on our pets because they can't talk to us. Identify if they're doing things like excessive panting. Sometimes they pant when they're hurting. Um, See how much water they're drinking. If they don't drink enough when they used to, you want to keep an eye on that because you don't want them dehydrated. That wasn't an issue with my dog. So if you do identify something that may be dehydration, think about other things that you can give your pet that will help hydrate them. One of the things I've always done with my dogs is I treated ice like it was a treat. So if nothing else, I could toss ice to them. They thought it was a treat, and they would eat it down like it was a cookie, but it was actually helping to hydrate them. The other thing that I noticed was the blood in the urine. So as soon as I saw that, that was an immediate trip to the vet. And what they normally do is they think, okay, so your dog has blood in the urine. They probably have a urinary tract infection, a UTI. So the first thing they will do is put your dog on antibiotics. And they will likely give your dog something for pain. Because let's face it, when we have a UTI, we're not exactly comfortable either. So they'll give your dog something for pain. And then that course of antibiotics will run, and then you need to observe your pet very carefully to determine where that issue is going on. So another thing to consider when your pets are on antibiotics, that just like us, it can interfere with their digestive system. So if they're on antibiotics and then they start having problems with their stool, like diarrhea or runny. So there's diarrhea where it comes out like liquid. There's runny where it pours like pancake batter or cake batter. And then you have your various, sorry, I can't help but compare it to different types of foods. But your dog's stool should always be at least, it can be soft, but it should be formed, okay? Be able to hold it, like the little poop emoji. It should at least be like that. If it's coming out like rocks, they're constipated and possibly dehydrated as well, because we need water to eliminate feces from our bodies. So do dogs. So you want to keep a watch on that when they're on antibiotics. What else can I tell you? So from that, he seemed to be doing better, but then the blood and the urine came back. And I took him back to the vet, and there's where they did an x-ray and also ultrasounds. And that's where they identified he had a small mass that was causing one of his kidneys to get backed up. So it was kind of big. So in order to look at that therapeutically, they put him again on more antibiotics to determine whether or not he had a kidney infection now. And this does happen. The infection goes from the urethra up into the bladder, which is called cystitis. And then from the cystitis, it goes into the kidneys, nephritis. Okay, so they went on another round of antibiotics with that. And at that point, I started giving my dog some herbal preparations. So I gave him one, because they weren't, so with the mass that they saw, they couldn't tell whether it was a prostate issue or a bladder issue, because if this is your bladder, the prostate is right here, okay? And it surrounds the tube that comes from the bladder, okay? So if the prostate is swollen, it could constrict the tubes that help you eliminate the urethra, which gets the fluid out of the bladder, which allows the fluid to flow from the bladder outside the body. So in my therapeutics, I considered one, what was safe for a dog to take. Two, what dosage does he need to have? And then three, at what frequency should I give it to him? So for the urinary issues, I gave him an herb that helps with UTIs, as well as helping with urinary incontinence, being able to control their elimination. And I gave him an herb that helps with swelling in the prostate. So it reduces the swelling in the prostate to allow good flow of urine out of the body through the ureter. Now, for a holistic approach, I gave him ashwagandha to help boost his immune system. I gave him turmeric, which is known for its anti-inflammatory properties, as well as his immune system support. And there have been studies where turmeric has promoted apoptosis of cancer cells in laboratory settings. And the third herb I gave him was graviola. So graviola leaf, which is pretty mild as opposed to the root, but I gave it to him at a very small dose, about 5% of the entire preparation, because it too has had positive results with apoptosis in clinical studies, in clinical studies for apoptosis, the killing of cancer cells. So basically what it does, it stops them from reproducing, and then they eventually die. And with that death, and I'm good, thanks. And with that death, they're eliminated from the body by the body's normal immune processes. So with that, my dog was doing very well. He was playing and doing very well until one night it's like someone switched a switch, and he just got really sick. So I say this to help you identify when your pet has issues. So let me reiterate on some of the other conditions, other signs that your pet's not feeling well. Their appetite is reduced. If you have an animal that normally eats very robustly and they lose their appetite, they don't want to eat, um, if they refuse their treats or other things that you know that they normally eat, you want to consider looking at them a little closely or taking them to a vet. Um, Thirst. Sometimes, if they drink more than usual, that could be a sign of um, dis-ease, an imbalance in the body. If they drink less, that can be a sign of uh, imbalance in the body. If they have lack of energy when they used to be very robust and playful, that is an indication that they're not feeling well. If they normally have a happy-go-lucky waggy tail and they suddenly stop, that is an indication that your pup or cat isn't feeling. Because I had a cat who was happy and the tail was either straight up as he flopped around the house, or it was straight out when he was stalking something. But if it's down and that's not their normal tail position, you might want to take a look at your cat. If they stop eating, I think I may have mentioned this before, that is a clear sign that they're either in pain or they're just not feeling good. If you see your animal out in the backyard eating grass, that's a sign that their tummy is not feeling good, and that goes for cats and dogs, okay? If they start vomiting and it's not grass related, because sometimes they'll eat particular types of grass just to get whatever's in their stomach out, okay? So those are some things that you might want to consider. I think that's all I want to touch on right now, but there are other things. If you have the ability to open up your animal's mouth and their gums seem to be yellow or their eyes are yellow, the whites of their eyes are yellow, that's a clear indication of a liver imbalance. You want to get your pet to the vet as soon as possible. So basically, I just wanted to touch base with you and give you a little bit of information on identifying an imbalance or possible indications of illness in your animal. I'm not a vet, but I've had numerous dogs and a cat. I've had birds, and despite the species, a lot of this is the same. Herbalist coming to you from Sienna Plantation, 5855 Senate Springs Way. Come on down, see us, and I hope to have a great day. Oh, yeah, that's right.